Greetings, Guardians, my name is Bife here. So, this is a series of images that has been bounced around my Twitter feed quite a bit. Take a look. This is something you can find on Europa. Kind of weird looking thing, right? It's just a big old ball, a sphere, and it's connected to stuff to do with the EXO program and everything else that was going on Europa. Notice that, however, as the seasons have progressed, and in particular as we've entered the Season of the Deep, it's changed just a little. The texture's different, and something about it is odd. This is what happens when you inspect it, and this is why all of a sudden, those questions have started to come back.
These are what Clovis Bray called memory banks, digital recordings of people's minds. It's how they became Exos. That means any Exo's past could be here, even Cade. I know he didn't want to come back, but I do miss him. Even if we could bring him back, he wouldn't be our Cade. He'd be a blank slate again. Rest in peace, buddy.
Oh gosh, okay, what have we done here? Yeah, okay, so let's explain why this isn't actually how we get Cade back, at least not without some significant extra steps along the way. But first, I'm now partnered with Advanced GG, and for me that's actually kind of a big deal, and the reason why is this. There are tons of drink supplements and energy drinks that have tried to partner with me in the past, and I've not been able to find one that has any reasonable benefits or doesn't have something suspect in its formula. And Advanced GG were the first that actually showed me their credentials, and yeah, I was really impressed. No other drink supplement over like 10 years has been able to get me to do that. And you know what? I'm glad it was Advanced GG because a lot of people in the Destiny community already use it. If you do use it, you know very well what to expect from Advanced GG's trusted formula. It'll improve reaction times, focus, memory retention, and concentration. But you may also want to know that it is sugar-free, vegan, keto-compatible, and provides a bunch of other benefits, such as being full of vitamin B and C. And if that wasn't enough, it's got a ton of cool flavors to it as well. In fact, I was so chuffed to be working with Advanced GG that we actually embraced the meme for this one. So you can use code LAWDADDY, yes, LAWDADDY, when checking out Advanced GG's site, and you can use that to get an extra 10% off your purchase. However, for the next week or so, we will be going ahead and activating code LAWDADDY30. That's LAWDADDY30, no spaces, and that will give you 30% off instead. Also, if that wasn't enough, you can get one of our limited edition ice shakers so that you can actually consume your beautiful beverage within it. And I have one of them in front of me right now. You can see it in the video too. The detail on this thing is remarkable. I have not seen t-shirts been able to get the detail on a logo quite like this, and it looks great. So, if you are looking to pick up something awesome as far as swag is concerned, or if you just enjoy Advanced GG, go ahead. Hit code LAWDADDY30 or LAWDADDY when you go ahead and check out at Advanced GG. And thank you again to Advanced GG for sponsoring this video. Anyway, let's talk about Cade and all the nonsense here. I think the first question everyone's asking is whether this is how we'll resurrect Cade in the final shape, and my answer to that is no. Not unless we have a lot of extra steps along the way. And the reason for that is because, well, this is going to bring about the wrong Cade with the wrong memories. Confused? Let me explain. So, when we see Cade in the final shape teaser, it's clear that he was capable of remembering Ikora, which means that it's safe to assume that he has his memories from his past life as a Guardian. You know who doesn't have those memories? The version of Cade that we'll get if we resed a new one from the Ball, the memory core. I'll explain all that in a minute, but I do also want to point out something here, which is that there's a ton of other weird theories going around that in final shape this Cade comes from an alternate dimension or timeline and is just another version of Cade that remembers a similar Ikora and a similar Zavala and a similar us, and I'm putting all of those to the side for the moment because that's a whole load of crazy that could be correct but we can't prove. So, for the moment, let's focus on the idea that this is our Cade from our timeline and somehow he's come back to life. So, why can't we do that using the memory core? Well again, wrong memories, you don't end up with the same Cade. Confused? Let me show you here. Martin, by the way, I'm so sorry for the extra illustration, but this is best demonstrated via diagram. Okay, so here is human Cade. This is also going along a timeline here. You can see that this is the point which human Cade suddenly joins the EXO program, and this is a moment where his brain is scanned. And that scan is taken to Europa and is uploaded into the ball, the sphere. This is point number 2 on our timeline, and this is the important point, because from here, every single one of the versions of Cade that were EXOs were created. Human Cade is classified under EXO terms as Cade 0. However, when you create an EXO version of yourself, you would become Cade 1. And if you have a reset, for some reason, you end up being Cade 2. This can also happen if you die and happen under different circumstances, and that is what I'm going to talk about in a moment, but this is the core point of it all. Each of these Cades is based on this original memory set within the ball. The ball holds the factory reset version of Cade, the Cade that doesn't have any memories of his past life because they've been suppressed by Clovis, the Cade that has the basic ideas of what he is as an EXO but not much more, and the Cade that would one day be turned into a Guardian. But only one of those Cades gets turned into a Guardian, Cade 6. Not Cade 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, no, it's only Cade 6 that died and then became a Guardian. So, yeah, that may be the bit that explains a lot of it to you, but for those of you who are still confused, let's go over a little bit of why that is the case. You see, we had a Cade 6 in this instance, partly because of what happened on Europa. You see, Cade 1, the original Cade, would have been existing in the time of Europa. We actually have lore entries from Beyond Light that go over Cade's story from his time as an original EXO on Europa. And this matters because it means that he was caught up in an event that definitely changed the history of the EXOs, and of Europa generally. That event was the Vex attack out of the portal in the Glassway. And this matters because it's likely how we got to Cade 6 in the first place. You see, all of the EXOs had to start fighting in order to survive. And so what happened was, they would continuously get rebuilt after they died and would rise again in new bodies. The problem was that the Vex had killed the cloud networking facilities that were available on Europa, and so whenever they were resurrected, these new EXOs were resurrected from the original personality templates. They didn't have memories of their past lives. This did not stop anybody, such as Banshee or Elsie Bray, from continuing the fight, but it did mean that everybody's numbers started going up. Banshee was most definitely the worst affected by this, as most we can tell, because his number went all the way up to 43, and then one final reset turned him from Clovis 43 into Banshee 44. That was a totally separate can of worms, but the point is, lots of the EXOs who were involved in this early battle probably got their high numbers due to this ancient battle with the Vex. And so, it's likely that Cade died and was reborn 6 times. Cades 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 all managed to fight and give their lives in this battle, and then Cade 6 was born. But if we were to go back and we were to create a Cade 7, this is a similar problem that haunts us. We do not have access to his old memories from his life as a Guardian, and therefore if we did create a Cade 7, it would get resurrected with his mind from the Golden Age that knows nothing about being a Guardian, has not been chosen to be a Guardian, and essentially is not the same person that we would have gotten to know over all these years. So, yeah, that's kind of where it's all coming from. The big point I'm making is that if we do bring Cade back, it won't be Cade 6, it will be Cade 7, and it will be a Cade that's got that factory reset tier knowledge. Nothing about his old life will be remembered. Now, does this mean that we're always going to be in this place where we could resurrect Cade but without any of these requisite memories? I mean, I'll be completely honest, I don't know. I haven't got a clue. But there are a few possibilities. The first possibility is whether we can actually find some of Cade's memories from his life as an EXO. If we could, maybe that helps, and it's not impossible because whilst he is dead, he is still machinery. Complex machinery, but machinery nonetheless. I imagine as well, given that darkness is a power that we've been exploiting continuously to unlock memories and the past, that we might actually be able to use that to assist us in rebuilding some of Cade's memories. Whether or not that's actually the route we take is unclear. We would then need to find a way in order to input these memories into a brand new Exo chassis, and when doing all of this, we'd also need to secure the facility in which it's done. I don't want this to be the idea that's in everyone's heads though, and the reason I say that is because when you actually take a look at the final shape teaser and everything that's going on there, you see a version of Cade 6 that is different, distinctly so. Someone whose weapon is broken and tarnished and filled with light, it seems, and someone whose eyes also look like they're filled with light. I think that this is something different, and it also doesn't explain how all of a sudden Cade is on the other side of the portal. If I was to hazard a different guess as to how we're meeting this version of Cade, I would suspect that the recent escapades of Joxer, the Titan who flew their ship into the portal, would give us a somewhat different idea. I think that this has a lot more to do with the universal records and memories of existence in the cosmos than it has to do with reprinting a new version of Cade and downloading his old memories. I think that the Cade that we see in front of us in that final shape teaser is actually a lot more likely to come about because of that Akashic record that we discussed. The idea that there is this field of energy that is capable of remembering and cataloging all human memories and experiences. If this is what's going on, then it's likely to be related to not just the portal but also the Veil, and so we will be able to explore that even further if that is the case. I will simply say this though, this memory bank, it is a red herring I think. I think we may explore it in the process of the final shape, but I don't think for even a second that that's what's going to happen as our quest comes along with the question of could we possibly resurrect Cade. I think that we're a very long way away from that. If I'm going to be brutally honest, I think that not only is that so far from where we are as far as resurrecting Cade is concerned, but also it barks up the wrong tree to a point at which everyone would be dissatisfied with the results. Cade 6 is dead and gone. As best we know, there is no easy way for us to bring about him, and the Cade that we would res would be Cade 7. Someone who has different memories, a different life, a different template of a man that we knew, but who wouldn't know us. He's not the same person who helped us conquer Oryx or assisted us when we defeated Gaul, or who died in the Prison of Elders. His first question when he wakes up would likely be, "Who are you?" And that's why, whilst yes, the change in the texture of the sphere is very, it's tantalizing and it's an interesting set of ideas, but no, I do not believe for even a second that this is how we get Cade back. All of that being said, I hope the video was interesting and useful, and hopefully everybody knows a little bit more about Europa and how Exos got their numbers. Keep in mind, this isn't the only way that Exos got their numbers, this is just a way that lots of them did. And generally, when you look at Exos who didn't take part in the battle, and it's hard to confirm who those were, but with those Exos that lived a more mundane and peaceful existence, you're looking at people who have been reset, and whose minds have been rebooted so that they can stave off DER. These are Exos whose lives have been extended in this particular way. There's only a certain number of factory resets you can do on an Exo by wiping their memory, but it's not to say that that's the only way they gain their numbers. We now just have the context under which those memory wipes and those resurrections happened for a lot of Exos on Europa. Anyway, this is a very long-winded video, and if it was useful, go ahead and leave a like. And if you want more lore coming out of both the final shape and, of course, any content coming out of this season in Destiny, go ahead and hit subscribe and the bell next to subscribe to turn on those email notifications. Tell me what you think. Do you think we'll resurrect Cade with the Sphere, or do you think that it's something to do with the cosmic powers of Destiny that we still don't fully understand? Regardless of which you think it is, let me know down below in the comments section. But as per usual, know that your viewership, as always, is quite enough for me, and that in the meantime, my name is Bife. Rodacia ad Astra. I'll see you, Starside.